Why would they stay? You see it's toxic from a mile away. Why can't they? Maybe that person was you. I'm Ronald and I'm a relationship and family therapist. And I'm here to talk about why we stay in bad relationships. Ever been in line, you've waited for a few minutes and you think to yourself, a few more minutes can't hurt. I've waited this long already. This is the sunk cost fallacy. The phenomenon where we're reluctant to abandon a course because we already invested in it. Even when it's clear changing course would be more beneficial, we stay put. Investments into relationships is not quite quantifiable, which makes it harder to know when to leave. With more being invested into our relationships, your lives become intertwined. You share friends, your family gets to know each other, you own a pet together, you own a home, and then you share a kid. But you're not happy in the relationship. You want to leave, but you can't. You stay because everything else connects you, but you can't figure out your own reasons for staying. Like an outer shell without any filling. This is constraint commitment. Being in relationship for external reasons. Your personal dedication to the relationship has been lost. But we feel committed to the relationship because of everything else, even when the relationship is bad. Or when you convince yourself it's not that bad. We have our good moments. Couples in healthier relationships tend to have more positive interactions than they do negative, at a ratio of 5:1. People may stay in bad relationships as there are just enough positive interactions to keep them in, not quite enough negative to let go. We also stay in bad relationships because it feels familiar. There is safety and comfort in familiarity, even when the familiar hurts us. Familiar comes from our relational history. If we grew up in a destructive household, our adult relationships reflect this. And we look to find corrective emotional experiences to heal our childhood suffering through our adult relationships. And people can get stuck when they convince themselves that they can change their partner. These are the reasons why we stay in bad relationships, except in domestic violence. In domestic violence, it's not the survivor's fault for staying. They are often coerced into staying. Survivors get caught in the cycle of violence. They are gaslit through false promises by the perpetrator to believe that perhaps things could change, which gives them hope, so they stay. But the pattern of violence continues. Survivors are disempowered, made to believe they are unable to survive out in the world on their own. So they feel they can't leave. Survivors also stay in abusive relationships because they feel it's safer than leaving. The point of relationship separation is often where perpetrators become more violent and survivors are at most risk, because leaving the relationship means the perpetrator loses control and the perpetrator escalates in violence in an attempt to regain control. So survivors stay to protect themselves. If you were stuck in a bad relationship and now you're beating yourself up thinking, why did I stay so long? My message to you is you left when you were ready to.